Welcome. My name is Brian with Airbags Unlimited. We are out on location today. Going to be replacing some headlamp plugs on a 2012 Honda Accord. Had to look up the plugs, had them in stock at my warehouse, just had to match them to what we needed. So we're at a perfect spot right now. They have the car apart, they're doing some framework. They're at a stopping point. We can slide in, do the repairs on these plugs. It cut this one completely off. Here's the signal plug, and here is the high beam plug. So we're going to be doing that here, getting them set up. Let me get my tools put together, get my headlight ready. Let me get everything put together and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We are here at the vehicle, have all of my parts and materials ready to repair and replace these broken pigtails on the left headlamp assembly. The signal pigtails and Molex plugs damaged. The high beam Molex plug and pins are damaged. And the low beam Molex plug and pins are damaged. As you can see, if you look over here, it took a pretty hard hit right in this area. That's why they're doing a body pull, frame pull on it. The light was crushed. Already checked these wires. It took a little bit of a split. Let me turn my light on. Took a little bit of a split, but the wires are okay. We'll just clean that up here in a minute. But we're going to jump in and start repairing. We're going to do the high beam Molex plug first. I'm going to cut a couple of heat shrink tubes. We always solder and heat shrink. We do not use butt connectors on dealership repairs, body shop repairs. We'll go ahead and do it the right way so that we know the connection isn't just going to slip out of a butt connector. We're going to go ahead and do it the right way. So let's get the wires mated first. We're just going to do a preliminary twist on here. It is better to have the battery disconnected for what we're doing just in case, so there's no short circuits or grounds if a circuit was to be hot. I know these aren't, the battery's out, but when they're doing frame pulls, they're actually going to pull the battery out when they're doing frame pulls, frame work. We're going to go in, soldering iron is ready to go. Heat it up just a little bit. Get it hot. We're going to make sure it's flowing. I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on the wire, and now we have a little bit of a flow right there. Now this one's ready. We're going to go ahead and come in and do it. I'm going to blow the smoke out of the way just a little bit. It's catching some of the resin from the actual coating, the protective coating, the wire. Now, before we go into the other ones, I want to go ahead and get my little torch out here. What we're going to do is bring the heat shrink up over. Hold on. Let's do this one. This one's being a little difficult. I have a little spot sticking out, so we are going to pinch this guy right here just a little bit, and then we're going to twist, hopefully twist the rest of this heat shrink around. Let's see if we can grab them. We are going to adjust this one just a little bit. Now once we put the heat shrink on, we're going to get this one piece out of here. There we go. This side is still, there we go. We still have enough. I do them long just in case that happens. We still have enough for it to shield. Let's pull this away. We're going to double check this one over here. Plenty of room on each side. Let's get our torch out. We have a special torch. We're going to come in and seal this up. There you go. Now we know it's protected. We're still going to put it back in its factory wire loom here, and we're going to tape it with the European tape. But before we move on to the next one, let's go ahead and do that. The European tapes has the soft material on the edge, and it still acts just like the regular black electrical tape, the plastic electrical tape. So I like using the European tape, especially if it's cooler outside or cold. It'll stick better, smoother to work with, and it has less tendencies to back out once you get to the end and wrap it up. So we'll do an extra little wrap here at the end. Boom. That particular circuit's done. We're going to jump onto the parking signal here real quick. Going to pull it back a little bit. Let's go ahead and remove the little extra factory lead tape right here. So this is not an LED indicator. It's a regular bulb, so either direction's fine. We're still going to match the colors. Get rid of the old part. Prepare these wires. We're going to strip them back just a little bit. We are going to get our heat shrink too before we strip the other one. We'll get our heat shrink ready. Couple of cuts. Get them prepped. Strip these guys just a little bit. This is 18 gauge wire. It's a little bit thinner and on the car, and then it looks like possibly 20 gauge on the actual going to the plug. So it won't take long to solder. They'll heat up. The solder will flow a little bit quicker on this thinner gauge wire than the thicker ones. So there we go. We're ready to solder. We're going to twist that just a little bit. Now, let's see. Flows much quicker on each wire. There. Let that cool off for just a sec. Then we'll get our heat shrink. 1, 2. Plenty of room on the end. Here we go. There it is. Go back and forth. Try not to keep it in one spot too long so it doesn't charcoal crisp the heat shrink. Turn it around, make sure you get both sides. Boom. That one's good. We'll tape it up in a minute. Let's go ahead and jump into the low beam. This one got completely ripped off. You can barely see the wire poking in there. We didn't even see it at first because it was mated up next to the parking signal. It was sitting just like this. So it kind of blended in. The estimator didn't see it at first. But upon looking, boom, there it is. So let's go ahead and get that off. We're going to clean up the tips before we strip it just a little bit. They're kind of frayed. So we'll just give it a clean cut. Come in, just do a quick little strip. Our donor plug off another Honda Accord is ready to go. So we'll get the extra tape out of there. Let's go ahead and get the heat shrink ready. 2 little snips. All right. And we are almost done. We'll be wrapping it up here in just a sec. Once we get this on, we'll clean it up, re-tape what we need to tape, Go ahead and get these leads ready right here. All right, before we solder, double check. Heat shrink's on. Once you solder it, you'll have to cut it to put the heat shrink on. So we're good to go. Let's grab the solder. Let's wrap this up. Hold on. One. I'll pull this over here just a little bit. This one's just kind of feeling angled different. So we're going to go on the other side of this a little bit just to make sure. There, now we got a good flow. We are done with the soldering iron. I'll go ahead and click it off, let that start to cool down before we head out. Give this a second to cool off, and then we'll hit it with the heat shrink and put the tape on it. 1, 2. Twist it a little bit, make sure we get the other side. That one's looking good. Now, let's see if this one's got a split. It does. It had a little bit of heat flex loom on it, so we'll actually come in just a little added touch. We'll put this piece back on it. Even though it was kind of high, we'll still tape over it. A little dirty, no big deal. It's going to be back behind the headlight. So there we go. This piece we're going to pull back down. It got pushed up a little bit for the repair. So we'll pull it back down. But we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to do a full tape on it. We don't like to leave the wires exposed like that. So we'll come in, do a full tape. And we'll do one more. Do a couple extra rolls right here at the tip. Now, when we finish with this, the body man will be ready to continue his frame pulls. This is done. He can start when he gets to the point, once the core support's repaired, once any repairs are done here on the inner fender, the inner apron, any rail repair, any absorber, rebar that needs to be done, everything's apart. We can get in here and do this right now, clean it up, make it look good, protect the wires. He's good to go. We don't want to lay it down on the ground just in case they move it. We don't want the wires, what we just fixed, to get messed up. We'll fix this in a minute. Other than that, we're done. The wires are good. The low beam, high beam, and parking signal Molex plugs and pins have been replaced. It's back to factory specs. If you have any questions, if you have any wiring questions, any electrical questions, repair questions on harnesses, bumper cover harnesses, sensors, front parking sensors, pre-collision sensors, stuff like that. This is what we do day in, day out. Appreciate y'all watching. Hit the like button if you liked what you saw, if it helped you with anything you were working on. Subscribe. We'll have some more videos coming out of vehicles and repair tips. Have a nice day.